What's going on, y'all? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I guess this is just another day in the life. Girl, now before we get started, I do want to say this. I do not appreciate how they P-bombed that live. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Black Men Unfiltered was having a conversation. Very interesting conversation. Unfortunately, it's a conversation that we've heard for decades. Okay? For a very, 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 very long time. We can provide historical context. We have established a credible line of something to follow to help substantiate what we're saying. And the issue and the problem, excuse me, the issue and the problem is that there has to be some accountability. And I get it. I get it. I get it. We live in a world where people are saying this, well, you're not being accountable, so why should I be accountable? You're not being accountable. But if you proclaim to be a follower of Christ or a follower of nature, right? And you're supposed to be on the right side of things, and especially for men who are a lot of black men who talk about being emotional and not being saved. You ain't gonna say, man, I ain't gonna coddle you, I ain't gonna save you, bro, I ain't gonna do all that. But then when it's them, and like I said on my Instagram live earlier before Black Men Unfiltered, I had an epiphany. And no, I don't need to go to Tiffany's, okay? The epiphany that I got was this. A lot of the people, because I did a live yesterday entitled, What About Protecting the LGBTQ Children? And I used my life as an example, being a queer child growing up in the 90s before all this mass awareness and representation was on television screens and phones and all this stuff, and how destructive that was. And I didn't receive any judgment for real from the adults. I received them from the children, because the children learned from the adults. You're talking about indoctrination and an influence and influencing. And I shared how I got my ass whooped and bullied because back in the day I had very effeminate energy naturally. My mother and father are in my life, been in my life since day one. I'm sorry a lot of other black men can't say that, and when I say that, it's not a flex, but it's the fact. Since we're talking about facts here. My mother wasn't overbearing, but I had situations with my father that terrified me if the possibility of his son being same gender loving was possible. But beside that, I grew up in a tight knit household. My mother and father have really done their Christ work and their love work to where they're able to accept having a LGBT son and a LGBT daughter, queer children. Okay? But again, going through all those things as a child, and then I thought about it, the same people that bullied me are the same adults that are making these fear-based things now. And it's so crazy. What's up, Barry White? And it's so crazy. I ask questions in the chat and they put them on the screen, but ain't nobody answer them. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't because it was a super chat, but I put up questions. And here's the funny thing. When a lot of black men speak about LGBT people's response to what comes out of their mouth, okay? At least they allow those people onto the platform, even though they know that the conversation is probably not going to go anywhere because there are groups of people. And to be honest, it's really on the heterosexual side because when it comes down to LGBT, we provide statistics, we provide facts, we do it the way that we're taught to do it in this system. Like if we're in a court of law, and y'all are the prosecute. Well, we are the prosecutor and y'all the defendants. You have to make sure you have evidence. See, what Black Men Unfiltered did not recognize or acknowledge is that they started this whole thing off by having conversations about masculinity and how homosexuality, transness, LGBT, whatever the case may be, anything that is not heterosexual, how they see that as a threat, How they can look on the screen and see a man who has decided to wear a motherfucking dress, or an actor who decided to take on a role to wear a dress. Allow them to get their feathers ruffled, and now there's a congressional hearing about, oh, they're trying to attack us. They're trying to attack us. There's no healthy viewpoint of black men anymore and black men anymore. But then when the LGBT people, and let's be clear, we're not talking about white LGBT people who really are getting the benefits, because even the things that's happening with the laws and stuff is to protect white LGBT people. LGBT people of color come to y'all because we have to deal with y'all on the ground floor. Ain't none of y'all Jay-Z, ain't none of y'all Kanye West, ain't none of y'all in a higher upper echelon of society to where you have money to have a different experience as opposed to what we experience on the ground floor. And once again, the bullies are afraid because karma is coming through, and they see karma as retribution, when really LGBT people, at least the people of color and the people that I know and that I've had conversations with, and we've been sharing them online publicly regardless of platforms, but just an awareness, okay, that we simply just want to exist without there being any fear narrative behind it, especially if you cannot provide it. That is the issue and the problem. Now, over the past few weeks, there's been individuals from the manosphere, shout out to Mandrill, even though they make fun of Mandrill. You see how whenever there is a heterosexual person standing in the gap and actually being an ally and speaking speaking for those whose voices are not going to be heard simply because they're LGBT. And all of a sudden, their sexuality is questioned. Now they're a simp. Now they're aligning, quote unquote, with the enemy. Like, we understand that some of y'all see us as the enemy. And I'm not talking to y'all, because y'all niggas can get that smoke. For the motherfuckers who want to hold on to these rigid, fragile ass ideas that they even struggle to manifest in their own life, which is why they get so insecure when they see men in wig doing better than them. Y'all can get that smoke because y'all already see us as reprobated. So once again, we just gonna match that energy. But when I do my lives and do my commentary and my responses, I understand that a lot of people on the panel, and first of all, let me give roses for the panel tonight. Shout out to, what is her name? The beautiful black queen on there. What is her name? See if I can find it. Hold on. Oh, they live now. They live now. I'm pretty sure the narrative is, oh, the LGBT people porn bomb the shit, and they love to spin the narrative and everything. But let's see if I can find out her name. He removed the other video. What's going on? Okay, let me see. I think they show it. Matter of fact, let me go back. Let me see. What's her name? Where is she at? Queen Smiley. Shout out to Queen Smiley. I appreciate her. The doctor. I appreciate him, as well as Mr. Bennett. Those are the people who are actually educated and willing to be open-minded, which means that I don't know everything, but I'm willing to ask. And even in Queen Smiley's, even the way that she asks questions, like, I appreciate her asking to understand and to get clarity. That's it. To understand and to get clarity. And as melanated people, as black people, we have to realize that we're going to have very intense conversations because there's so much context and nuance that is being missed. And for a lot of black men, they're not going to like this, but this is a requirement from nature. Since I know so much about nature, from a spiritual aspect, masculine and feminine are energies, right? Your masculine is your thought and your feminine is your emotional side. Even in the narrative of the Bible, Christ talk about marrying the masculine and feminine together. Those are energies, your thoughts and your emotions. That's how you manifest things. But a lot of black men are emotionally stunted. They're emotionally delayed. They are emotionally unaware. And they've been taught in a culture that any sort of emotion that's not linked to what masculinity is should be stopped, should be corrected in its form. That's hypermasculinity. Hypermasculinity is not operating in divine masculinity. If y'all was operating in divine masculinity, then y'all women would want to submit to y'all because y'all shining in y'all kinghood. But when y'all do that oppressor shit, like literally trying to take it by force, it becomes a problem and an issue. Now, I've been listening to Black Men Unfiltered for the past few weeks. I've also been listening to other panel discussions from LGBT people for weeks. And the issue is this: you have a group of heterosexual people who are not educated on LGBT in the totality of it. They're so fixated on the quote unquote sexual. And that's why I said in the comment sections, this is nothing new. This isn't anything new. This is something that we've been hearing for the longest time. Since the 60s, there are literally evidence in videos, in archives, in posts that support that. But then when we try to see, they want to have the conversation publicly without being challenged. They want to be able to have the conversation and not feel wrong. And I get it. I get it. Again, with people who are emotionally stunted and not emotionally aware, it's going to be difficult when there's accountability, because emotional awareness is imperative, because you have to deal with your own guilt and your own shame. And like I said earlier, a lot of the bullies have grown up and have seen that the people they bullied are in positions of power to now possibly dictate how their life will be. Isn't it funny how life rolls around? The same people you meet going up, you what? You see them coming the fuck back down. That's the problem and the issue. Y'all want to have conversation about LGBT people without LGBT people present, because y'all believe, and there's only been two people besides Queen Smiley, who she's so beautiful, Queen Smiley, besides Mr. Bennett, besides the doctor. The only people that really kept it all the way real and funky and was like, there it is, there it is, there it is, in its true form, in its raw form, there it is, was an individual in the comment section named Trey, and the individual who came onto the live, who I've seen his video shared, but I never really watched them because it's like, girl, I don't want to trigger myself. You know what I mean? But I appreciate the honesty. I have to appreciate the honesty, because I'm not for the politically correct shit. Like, that'd be the problem. Like, let's really deal with the nitty gritty of the shit and work through the emotions. Let's really do our Christ work if we're really about Christ. Let's actually work through the emotions. That's what we get caught up at, in the emotions, but we have to work through them. And yes, there's going to be some yelling. There's going to be some screaming. There's going to be all that shit, because as black people, melanated people, we're passionate. But it was not Information Man, I'm sorry, Chaotic Truth who came up there. Excuse me, not Mr. Information Man, but Chaotic Truth who came up there and literally said what was what was on a lot of them niggas' minds. That dick and the booty shit is nasty. I don't understand how y'all do it. How can two big men's come together and just do shit? I seen a joke by Bernie Mac yesterday on one of his comedy specials where he said, I got a gay family member that live with me and my wife and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? He real quiet. You know what I'm saying? He don't do nothing around the kids, do all this shit. But I asked him, I said, man, what's your infatuation with some booty? You know what I'm saying? What made you want to do it? What made you want to do it? And it's like, why are you so inquisitive about something that nobody asked you about anyway? And then no shade. A lot of the people who are questioning or have some sort of fear about quote unquote anal sex, let me explain something to you. A lot of women don't even want y'all. So if women don't want y'all know gay niggas don't want y'all. I don't know about y'all, but a lot of gay niggas have very high standards. Very high. And some of the homophobic and transphobic, whether it's overt, whether it's covert, whether it's saturated in religion and Christianity, girl, which that be baffling my mind. There's a lot. And again, okay, so we're gonna use that same logic. If if heterosexual people can sit up here and talk about their issues about LGBT people without LGBT people being there, then we can't get mad when white people in Congress decides they want to create laws that limit black people, and we know this to be true systemically, but then don't want to have black people in there to literally point out what they're doing wrong. And yes, let me say this. On all parts, on black people part, white people part, LGBT people part, just us as human beings, we have a lot of work and self-healing and shadow work to do on our parts. You're absolutely right. But the main thing, especially for a lot of the Christians that was in the chat, girl, and on the platform, didn't Christ say, or in the Bible it says, to work out your own soul salvation first? So before we can sit up here and have any sort of objective viewpoint on anybody else, we got to make sure that we're good. And there are some individuals who literally have been doing that work, who literally have been doing their shadow work, who literally have been dealing with the thoughts that keep them crippled and keep them bound and prevent them from living their best life. But see, once people self-actualize and say, I don't need you, okay, I don't need you in order to rise, it becomes a problem and an issue. So let's say this, okay, for example, um, again, like I said, I had conversations about the drag performances in children on TikTok, and the thing I heard from parents all the time, because once again, we're protecting the children, but hearing this is the '60s, girl, and look at the what is it, the foster care rate, girl. Just look at it, make it make sense. But anyway, I kept hearing parents say, "Oh well, not my kids, not my kids. Don't stop me from parenting my kids. Let me parent my kid the way I want to." Okay, that's cool, that's fine, and that's dandy. Parent your kid, because we understand, unfortunately, homophobic and transphobic, queerphobic people are always going to be here. It is what it is, girl. Fear is going to still find its way into the equation. Okay, but the issue that I have is that once you start, you talking about LGBT people projecting themselves onto y'all, factually and historically speaking, heterosexual people have been doing that to LGBT people for the longest. Because back then, before we had all of the medical advancements and psychological advancements, okay, because with science, things grow and evolve. Because a lot of y'all grew up in the '60s and grew up in the church being told that this is wrong, that this is a sin, whoop-de 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 woo. And they spoke from a Bible that a lot of individuals struggle to manifest those type of teachings in their lives. And it'd be so crazy to me, because Christ said, I want you to do two things. I know that y'all are going to be struggling. I know some of y'all going to need training wheels. I know some of y'all is going to have to be talked to like this in a hooked on phonics way. But listen, instead of going through the mental gymnastics, let's just do two things. It said to love the Lord, your God, with all your mind, body, spirit, soul, all of you are, basically including yourself into the equation. Because Christ said, ye are gods. A lot of Christians don't think about that. They're so used to being weak. But the Christ, the person that y'all following, told y'all to be strong. And he said to do unto others as you want them to do unto you. And historically speaking, factually speaking, LGBT people have shown their burden of proof of how heterosexual people have tried to suppress their way of life, not based off of any truth or fact that they can bring up. Because if we're talking about heterophobia, this should have been the time to pull up all the videos and pull up all the news article of trans people and gay people just shooting straight people in the streets, girl, and just monkey stomping them, girl, and just going up inside of churches and family reunions and events and just flipping over tables and spraying rainbow shit and glitter every goddamn where. Where is the videos at? Where is the videos of the sick person in the bathroom beating off, pretending to be a woman, trying to get to your daughter at an alarming rate? Where when you see a trans person, no matter what that trans person is, they're doing that. Where is it? Because y'all make blanketed terms and blanketed statements and then have the nerve to justify y'all statements by using the Bible. But then once LGBT people start playing y'all game, then all of a sudden the enemy knows scripture. Well, that's a damn shame that the enemy, quote unquote enemy, knows more scripture than you do. Doesn't that say something about your faith and your walk with Christ? Shouldn't that say that maybe you need to tighten up the wrenches and tighten up the lasso on your journey to God? The only thing that was said on that platform tonight was the shit that LGBT people have been hearing. Y'all haven't brought up no statistics. Y'all haven't brought up no facts. Y'all haven't brought up no case study. It's simply the fact of, I'm afraid of y'all. Y'all are weird as fuck because y'all do this and y'all do that and whoop-de-whoop-de-woo, and yet can't verify it. Meanwhile, when LGBT people bring their factual, objective history, statistics, facts, actual experience, okay? Bring those things, all of a sudden, it's la 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 la. I don't want to hear it. And again, that's not for everybody. Again, shout out to Queen Smiley. Shout out to Coach K. Even though she left, she kind of got triggered. But for a moment, she was dealing with her stuff. She was dealing with her own inner biases. But she was at least being open-minded. Again, shout out to the doctor who could understand both sides, but make sure to include the LGBT side to bring context and nuance so we can get a clearer, more definite answer as opposed to just the fear narrative and the fear blanket that's put all over the goddamn narrative. And Mr. Bennett, who has actually had conversations, who actually sat down and asked LGBT people these questions. See, they want to bring up, oh, well, every time you ask a question, they go off on y'all, they go off on y'all. Because y'all don't comprehend and y'all don't listen. How is it that Mr. Bennett can go over to LGBT platforms, Mandrell can go over to LGBT platforms and have calm conversations with them because they're willing to listen, they're willing to comprehend and to deal with their own biases that is objective. Everybody can see it. Not no fear-based narrative that y'all can't even produce. And it gets cringy. So yes, LGBT people is turning up the heat because y'all really want LGBT people to go back in the closet so that you'll have someone to beat on as opposed to beating onto your own ego and self-actualizing your damn self. An individual named No Cap who needs to change his name to Cap times 10. Okay? He literally sat up there and tried to formulate this whole thing of like, oh my God, I was just being nice to the LGBT people and they would just beat me up and they would just whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, whoop-de-whoop. But when you actually look at the videos, when you actually take the time to sit the fuck down, that's why I be telling people, smoke a blunt, smoke a good sativa or a hybrid, but I like sativas. Smoke a good ass motherfucking sativa, sit the fuck down and listen to what's being said. Nothing that man said was affirming, was like, you know what, I didn't see it that way. Okay, I understand what you mean, my bad, I'm sorry. But see, he's waiting for us to do that so that he can do that. That's only gonna happen when it's right and it's wrong, and objectively you're wrong. It's so cringy to see these individuals talk about what masculinity is and have all these honors and codes about what masculinity is and how it's protective and how it's all this other type of stuff, and meanwhile fail in application to what that looks like. It's a lot of talk but not enough walk. And let me give you something. As an individual who is same gender loving, who has had a conversation with other LGBTQ people, and an individual who has also listened to black women, because I'm emotionally aware and intelligent, I'm able to connect with them. And y'all better be glad that some of the gays don't want to fuck your women because, baby, a lot of your women want to fuck us. They be mad as hell when they find out that we gay. You gay? Oh, my God. But again, factually and historically speaking, black women have been holding up the motherfucking blood-stained banner when it comes to blackness for the longest time. Remember, y'all mothers raised y'all niggas. And shout out to the good black men who are in their children's life. Shout out to y'all, and we need to admire y'all and love on y'all even more to encourage other black men to do it. But because that's not the case, unfortunately, and a lot of black homes have been destroyed by the government, by the system, black women had no choice but to hold it the fuck down. They wasn't finna let the black community crumble. Y'all be giving women so much just bullshit, like they need to be protected and all this shit. Black women have a higher threshold of pain than man can ever fathom. We talk so much about family jewels and balls and cojones, but if you flick that motherfucker a little bit on the side and graze it, niggas are on the floor in the fetal position, groaning. Let men get cramps. Let men motherfucking get pregnant. I promise you, bitch. Roe versus Wade, bitch, will be ironclad, girl. There's no way. A lot of men will be getting planned, be like a motherfucker. It's a lot of ignorances and a lot of old ideology, and I get it. A lot of people who believe in these old ideologies, because evolution is happening, they're afraid because they feel like there's no place for them in there. That's how I know the conversations that they're having is all cap. It's all fear based. Not all of the people on the panel, but a lot of them, especially a lot of the black men, are afraid of accountability. And I get it. Black men have had foots on their neck for the longest time. But you can't sit up here and ask black women to submit to you and see you as a king when she's been too busy doing your damn job and you don't even know how to do it. Y'all get pressed when y'all see black men who don't look like the ideal model of what you are and go into a whole see, y'all have the identity crisis. Black women have to fight in order to self-actualize and realize that they don't really need nobody. And spiritually speaking, we don't need anybody. We are all that we need. Everything else is want. Everything else is temporary. A lot of black women realize, oh, I know how to take care of myself. Y'all talking about protect. I know how to protect myself. I know to take care of myself. And wouldn't you want your woman to know how to take care of themselves when you're not around? Don't you want your woman to walk in her queenhood in the way that's organic for her, not in no motherfucking Biggie Smalls fantasy way of just, oh, she just doing it for me, but to actually honor her queendom. A lot of those same men on the Black Men Unfiltered talked about Sierra's husband being a simp. And I wouldn't let my woman. Well, maybe his woman is confident in her motherfucking body and he know that he got that on lock and he can allow his woman to goddamn shine because he is very clear that this woman is going to come home to him and gave him a whole bunch of beautiful kids. So the dick must be dicking. Look at that. A man that's not afraid to allow his woman to shine in her own right without him being connected to it. So black men, in my opinion, a lot of them, not all, the ones that are hurting, the ones with the identity crisis, the ones that don't know who they are. Y'all talking about people who want to change who they are and they're following their own journey to being happy. Y'all need to find out what that is for y'all and stop demonizing other people who figured it out. And don't worry, the black community will still go on. It's still been going on. Meanwhile, a lot of my black brothers in the streets destroying the fucking community, girl. At a larger rate than anything an LGBT person can do. We can bring up years worth of evidence. But see, that's y'all cousin Pookie and y'all cousin Ray Ray and your Uncle Mark and your daddy Smoke and all these other niggas that we've seen kill people. And meanwhile, y'all got no problem putting on a shirt talking about free so-and-so, free Lulu, free Lulu. Lulu done murdered 5 niggas. For what? But this nigga gets a celebration, a motherfucking going away party and shit, get money on his goddamn books. And he actually did some shit. But y'all have the narrative, but y'all have the notion to sit up here and create falsified ideas that y'all can't even prove collectively about LGBT people. And y'all reach for one or two small things. Like I said, it's like watching white people be afraid and melt at the accountability that their forefathers have done and the benefit that they're still receiving to this day because of their forefathers, girl. It kind of, that conversation, like when they did Heterophobia, kind of gives me like an all lives matter type of thing. Like, well, all lives matter. All lives matter. Okay, so if all lives matter, why are we not paying attention to the black lives? Because they need help. It's a weak ass attempt, a desperate ass attempt, a old ass, relic ass, refutable ass fear tactic that has been used for the longest time. But see, they're gagging because, again, spiritually speaking, there is a shift that is happening that they cannot control, and motherfuckers gonna have to find out who the fuck they really is. You had one gentleman on the panel talked about him being a Christian, and I have LGBT friends, but I make sure to tell them, I don't agree with your lifestyle. I don't agree with your lifestyle. I don't agree with your lifestyle and all that. Look, you ain't got to agree with the lifestyle. That's not the problem of the issue. The problem of the issue is when you try to paint somebody out to be someone that you can't even prove that they are. and then have the nerve to vote on people's experiences to say, oh, I didn't say that. The system said that. The law says that, to make it systemic. It's the same thing with racism. I ain't gotta tell you a fagate to your face. I ain't gotta call you a lesbian to your face. I ain't gotta call you a transvestional mesh to your face. Not yet. Not yet. But once these laws into place, I'm gonna feel a lot more comfortable. And the reason why LGBT people are low-key vigilant as hell and ready to Bruce Lee cross kick motherfuckers across their face is because, unlike y'all explaining and bringing factual proof of y'all heterophobia and how this is something that is credible, again, historically, factually speaking, through education, we've seen how destructive laws have been to LGBT people once put into place. How LGBT people could literally lose health care, could lose housing, could lose employment, all these things. And what's the cause? Oh, well, my Bible, religious belief. Okay, well, here's the thing. I guess we're going to play the game. I guess that's what it's going to be. Because it seems like humanity will never evolve unless there's destruction and literal fire underneath their asses. So let's do this then. Okay, that's fine. For the LGBT people that's working in fast food, whenever you see a fat, goddamn Snorlax, busted can of biscuit, goddamn triple neck, double stomach, one for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you see a motherfucker, girl, who waist size is goddamn, girl, it's not even a number, bitch. When you see a motherfucker come into your restaurant, girl, and they gotta go to a tent and awning place just to get some pants, girl. When you see a motherfucker and they be like, when you see a motherfucker so big, another fat person looking, be like, goddamn, bitch, that's me. When they come up to the motherfucking front and ask for a goddamn quadrupolator at goddamn Wendy's and make sure you give me 2 large fries, no salt. Girl, you might as well eat the goddamn salt, bitch. Do that, girl. Let me get about 4 motherfucking 10 pieces and give me a Diet Coke. Say, excuse me, sir, I'm sorry, I can't. What you mean I can't? My religious beliefs, you're gluttonous. That's overweight is being a sin, and that's one of the deadly sins, sir. So I can offer you a salad to help correct the demonic influence that's in your goddamn fat cells that wants your ass to swallow all this food to cover up your pain. But if I did that, I would lose my job. Or maybe we should take it to the extreme. Like here's my thing. If we're going to play these games when it comes down to what the Bible says and all this stuff, then let's do it across the board. That means when it comes down to the Thanos snap, include Thanos as well. If everybody included and we gonna let natural selection and Mother Nature do her job, I'm for all that. Just include you. But see, y'all don't want to be included. Y'all want to be excluded. And didn't Christ say for y'all to pick up y'all cross and follow him? Didn't you see what Christ had to do? He allowed himself to be murdered and to be crucified. But he wasn't murdered and crucified by the LGBT community or the oppressed people. He was murdered and criticized by the people who were under the illusion that they had the real power, and Christ came through and showed them hoes how much power they did not have. It's interesting to me that black people can get up here and talk about Christ, even though people say that the Bible is not it's a lot of shit. But for those who claim to be Christian, it's so funny how a lot of people talk about, well, what God said and what God said and what God and God said this and God 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 and God. But if you read the Bible, Christ said that I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life, and no man can get to the Father but by going through me. And it's so funny to me how a lot of Christians, not all, and again, there are some Christians who are ignorant. And when I say ignorant, I don't mean ignorant as far as in a, oh, you stupid, you dumb. But you simply just don't know. Now, when you choose to be ignorant, then you're stupid and dumb. But for a lot of Christian people, they minor in what Jesus majored in. And it'd be so baffling to me, like, y'all be worried about what the hell these other scriptures says. Shouldn't Christ be the most important person in the whole book? Because it's your connection to God. And all that shit y'all talking about, inclusion and shit, Christ was about that. Christ was all about telling those who have power, those who have resources, to use your power and resources to help the poor, to help the oppressed. But of course, who wants to be connected to them? Who want to be connected to what is known as the dredges of society? Who wants to be connected to the lepers and the sick people and the tax collectors? Who want to be connected to them? Christ. Christ. And you goddamn right, when Christ was arguing people down, trust me, he was arguing a lot of you people that y'all call Christians, he was arguing y'all down. Like, y'all be under the illusion that Christ would be sitting up there just on Black Men Unfiltered like, yes, 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 yes. No, Christ will be cussing y'all out. Christ will be asking you, but where the love at? But where the love? Where is it? Can you show it to me? And them saying, oh, I love you. I'm saying this in love. And love is an action. Love is a verb. Just like how when your ass should have died in that car accident, or you should have caught that STD when you was in the throe of your lust, or when you did some fucked up shit in your life and you just thanking God and going to church every Sunday. Thank you, God. I just want to say thank you. Crying and stuff because you knew God kept your ass when you shouldn't have been kept. That unconditional love. Why is it difficult for you to give that to your brother and sister? There's a scripture in the Bible that says the last shall be first and the first shall be last. And that's literally what's happening. All of this fake ass stuff that we've poured our identity into is falling apart, and the real true self is coming out. And a lot of us don't like what we see. That's why shadow work is important. Black people, that's why therapy is important. I appreciate the doctor being on the platform because he's also able to give a professional, but yet from a black perspective, understanding of what's going on. Ain't nobody trying to make y'all wanna like LGBT people. We just telling y'all to leave us the fuck alone. Let us live our life. Y'all are the ones that get pressed when you see an expression of gay that is feminine. Because let's really be real. Y'all have a problem with black men showing feminine energy. Because y'all have been taught that's wrong, that's not right, whoop-de-whoop-de-woo. And then y'all wonder why y'all have so much issues with your woman. Didn't the Jones girls tell y'all motherfuckers that there won't be peace on earth till man's at peace with woman? And guess where black women go to share their concerns about black men and they bullshit? The LGBT community. We actually allow them, being black men, at that, a space and a place for them to speak about their issues. And we also speak about our issues with black men as too, because LGBT people, especially black feminine men and trans women, have had horrible experiences with black men, and that's factual. The only thing that a lot of black cis men can talk about when it comes down to LGBT people is the annoyance and the irritation of them around and how they tolerate us and don't want us to be around. Meanwhile, LGBT people, again, historically, factually, statistically, girl, like we playing the game the right way. We giving y'all what's required if it was in the court of law. We're telling you that the responses from black men when it comes to us is more physical. And the gag is that we know that. We just want y'all to be prepared that the same way that y'all bullied us when we was younger, that shit not gonna pop off now, pimpin'. We trying to get y'all to understand that we not the same motherfucking people we was. I understand a lot of black cis hetero men, not all, but a lot of ignorant cis hetero black men have that Pennywise energy. They want to fuck with you when you a goddamn child, but got their ass whooped in the end, and then think they're gonna come and fuck with you as a goddamn adult, and you saw what the fuck happened. No. It's going to be a different type of thing. Does it have to take physical violence for motherfuckers to understand that we equal? Because trust me, if it's one thing that that some gay people have understood, is they understood that they had to protect themselves because they're very much aware of the world they live in. And what pisses me off about a lot of black people is that because we understand for centuries, energetically, what it's like to feel oppression and racism. We felt it so long, we can literally feel the energy. We can literally feel the eyes on us. We can literally feel the people walking behind us. We see it all the fucking time where black people are just minding their business, not doing anything criminal, but because they're black, and the ideology and the depiction of what they see about blackness, oh my, that has to be the case. And again, we've known that for so long, but meanwhile, we can't even show empathy and compassion to LGBT people. And maybe it's because as black people, we've been shitting on everybody to where we're like, well, fuck y'all. Y'all ain't about us. Fuck y'all. Fuck y'all. Fuck y'all. But then what happens is y'all start to internalize that within the black community and within the intersections of blackness. Because even with Black Lives Matter, before it became labeled what it is today to destroy and discredit its initial grassroots movement, it was a conversation or a movement that started politically in grassroots type of ways by LGBT people. Even Stonewall, a historical moment in LGBT history, was spearheaded by black LGBT people and then got whitewashed. Bayard Rustin was imperative to the whole March on Washington. They even got rid of his ass, if you did your research, simply because they didn't want people associating Martin Luther King with him and saying that Martin Luther King was, excuse me, a homosexual, because it would discredit the movement. And they had to let Bayard go, and Bayard walked away. He was okay because he understood that. Look at how the sexuality was being used at the time, and they can't even prove it. But because of the stigma on LGBT, it was already damning within itself. Not because it's actually damning, but because the Bible was interpreted for that to be that way. No fact, because the Bible is truth. So there has to be some physical manifestation of it at an alarming rate, and it wasn't. Remember, all this shit was in the closet at the time. So even when LGBT people was in the closet, y'all still had a problem. So damned if you do, damned if you don't. Bitch, I'd rather be damned and not do it then, because we already understand how the game goes. So I might as well live my best life and die trying and fighting. But then those individuals realized that they needed Bayard Rustin in order to do it, because nobody could organize like him. And then look what happened. You have individuals like James Baldwin, and I heard somebody say in the chat, oh, I see we're having a lot of philosophical stuff being put in the chat. We need all that shit. Have y'all not forgotten about the 60s and 70s when they used to have black delegation hearings where they would have all different type of viewpoints and perspectives about blackness in the United States of America, where there's people who believe that they can make a change in the system, for then the people who said, girl, burn the system down, and then for the people who are saying we got to work on ourselves before we can actually change the system. Like, we need all of that together. And it's so interesting how back in the 70s we was able to have conversations and disagree with each other without it becoming so emotional. There's a conversation between, is it Angela, not Angela Davis, I forgot what her name is, but it's James Baldwin and another black queen. They were sitting there talking about their experiences and was able to say, you know what, you right, I'm with you when you right, I'm with you when you right. There are people who are willing to be with you when you right, but you have to be right in order for me to be with you. In order for it to be right, it has to be objective. All night on Black Men Unfiltered, even the creator, the person who's the host, said, we gotta talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. So the good that they talked about when it came down to LGBT people was that be glad that there are people who can see that you're mentally ill and want to help you. That was the good, not the individuals like T.S. Madison, who was a whole trans woman who had black market silicone injected into her body, who had to survive doing sex work because all the other places of establishment, when she tried to do it the right way, discriminated against her. Shout out to Ron Vugada. And literally transformed and turned her life around to where now she's a social media influencer, and she don't even have to do any of the sexual shit that she did in the past. She was able to upgrade and elevate. Y'all didn't bring her up. What about Hope Giselle? What about all the other trans women who have lived their life as trans women for years, for decades, and is still loving their transition and is still honoring their queenhood? But see, y'all won't do that. Y'all will try to find individuals, oh, the person who regressed, and you're going to have people who do that. That's why, again, factually speaking, when it comes down to trans, that's why it's like people don't want to be educated. Even when we ask y'all to bring y'all facts, y'all bring up one or two facts, girl. Y'all on the right side of truth. Y'all should be swamping us with facts. Y'all should be swamping us with statistics. Y'all should be not no fear narrative of what could be and what about this and what about this, but what actually is. And if y'all really want to have that conversation, you're going to have those conversations with LGBT people. We understand what your perspective of LGBT is. It hasn't moved. It hasn't evolved. It hasn't changed. It's still left in the same stagnant ass place it was. We're asking y'all to evolve in y'all thinking because, again, y'all want to sit up here and say it's my opinion to not like you. It's my opinion to see you as evil and nasty and destructive because that's how y'all feel on the inside. But y'all don't want to be labeled as that because of the accountability. So y'all try to moonwalk and pussy pop around it. Oh, I'm not. I have gay friends. I have all this stuff. You treat your gay do you even talk to your gay friends? Do you even talk to your gay nephew and uncle and ask them about their experiences LGBT to understand? Or is that just a way of like a white person saying, oh, I have black friends? Are your black friends talking to you about LGBT issues? Black men are having a hard time. Be glad that there are black same gender loving men that have done their self-love work that will be able to help you. Y'all sexualize everything. Y'all always think the only way that y'all think about LGBT is sex, sex, sex. Fucking in the butt, fucking in the butt, fucking in the butt, fucking in the butt. But when it comes down to heterosexuality, y'all are more than just that. And it's more y'all talking about sex than us. Y'all getting tripped up about Lil Nas X and Saucy Santana. Those are only two motherfuckers compared to the Offsets of the world, compared to the Lil Waynes of the world, compared to the goddamn NLE Choppers of the world, compared to the goddamn NBA Youngboys of the world, compared to all these other cis hetero men that talk about domination, killing, murder, and taking pussy up. Again, that's how I know it's fear because ain't nobody over there answer any of the questions I asked. They couldn't because it builds context and nuance. And that's why I said earlier with my epiphany that I had on my Instagram live. These are the same people that I grew up with being bullied by. They're just adults. And they want to teach that to their children. Oh, protect the children, protect the children. But what about the LGBTQ children? Would you stop them from getting bullied? If you see other individuals bullying them objectively, would you insert yourself to say, hey, stop it, guys? Would you sit up there and try to educate him and say, oh, there's something wrong with you. Let's teach you baseball. Let's man you up. Y'all won't even honor them. And that's why, once again, that's why the education is there, so that LGBT children like myself don't have to go through those things. Yeah, the self-deletion rate is high in the LGBT community because they live in a world that does not affirm them and literally doesn't want them around. Do you know what that does to you psychologically? Especially children? Do you understand what that does? But it's okay. That's all right. Because if I have kids, God willing, my kids will know how to defend themselves. With an animalistic right. I ain't taking them to karate. They getting some goddamn Muay Thai boxing, Krav Maga, whatever the hell it is, baby. I want it to be brutal. Because I'll be goddamned if I'm gonna have the principal calling my phone and telling me that my goddamn child being bullied and my child in the goddamn principal's office crying and shit, talking about, oh, they don't want to live anymore, or they keep bullying me and being a victim. Fuck all that. I'm gonna get phone calls like, Mr. BubzDaGawd, yeah, what's going on? Hello, how are you? I'm great. I have to call you and ask you something about your goddamn daughter. Oh, what about my daughter? Yeah, your daughter, Nikita, that's one of the kids' names for my daughter. Nikita, she picked up a desk and slapped the shit out of another kid with it. Oh, she did now. Okay, well, don't worry. Me and my husband on the way home. Way home. Way down there. We on the way down there. Let us deal with the aftermath of that stuff. If your child bully my child will whoop your child's ass. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe the adults don't have to get involved with the peer and peer situation. I'll just teach my child how to defend themselves. So that when your homophobic child comes through and makes fun of my child for having two daddies, and you know my daddy said whoopty 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 woo, I'm gonna teach my children there are gonna be ignorant people in the world who gonna spew their ignorant and just let it brush off your shoulder. But once they put their motherfucking hands on you, because that's the thing, once they get dominated in the intellect and the conversation, they can't have control over that. So they'll do the next best thing, which is to be physical. Now I gotta whoop your ass and beat you into submission. That's why a lot of niggas want to get married, not because they love black women and want to build with black women and really honor black women in their queenhood from a healthy, divine masculine, not a toxic masculine place and space. But want to be able to have a woman to be able to have control over them because they don't have control over anything else in their goddamn life. And if it's one thing they're going to control is that pussy. That's what a lot of men do. But that's okay. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe LGBT people should stop teaching at large your children on how to treat them. Maybe what they should do is teach their children how to defend themselves so that when the natural and organic Bible spewing begins, and then it becomes physical because your child wants to make sure that my child heard what they said even though they ignored them, so now they have to take it up a notch to get their point across, then maybe it's going to take my child Bruce Lee cross kicking your child across the throat in order for them to get it. And then we can let the adults have the conversation then. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, and a lot of you niggas' necks is weak as fuck. Y'all not ready to deal with the responsibility and the accountability that comes with the fucking crown. Not saying that you can't have it, but you niggas are not where you need to be to do it justifiably and righteously for all of blackness. All of blackness. And I'll be goddamn if I'm gonna let a goddamn wild king become the king of blackness. There needs to be a king that is inclusive and is willing to have a council of other people in the community around him so that a healthy monolithic viewpoint of blackness can be established, as opposed to this divisive ass shit. Y'all so worried about blackness, but we participate in the division of blackness because we're intellectually and emotionally dishonest. Y'all want to sit up here and tell trans people that they lying to themselves. Meanwhile, the trans people are the ones that's actually having the fucking experience. They're the ones that's actually going to doctors. They're the ones actually living the experience. So until you motherfuckers can live the experience or get more than one reference of experience, y'all can't say shit. Shit that's substantial. Shit that's justifiable. Y'all don't know how to do that. Y'all don't. 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 Y'all don't know how to do that. And this is the era of security. We gonna see who's really secure. Cause for the Christian people, girl, what the fuck happened to the church when C-19 came through? Shut it down. Now it's time to apply it. Not to go in church and get spiritually aroused and all this shit and be, oh my God, excited and stuff like that. Now you gotta actually apply what you hear on Sunday. And that's the problem. A lot of y'all didn't apply that shit Monday through Saturday. Y'all was struggling with it. And if I can just get to church on Sunday, Jesus came to teach y'all how to do it. Y'all want Jesus to come back? Jesus ain't coming back until y'all learn how to do it. Because I wouldn't come back either. Hell no. I already did the ultimate work. Now it's time for y'all to just believe the work that I did. And the way that you do that is actually walking out what it is that I did. Not what the hell Leviticus said, because that was a point in time. Not what the hell Matthew and Romans says, because that was a point in time. I'm talking about what I've established for you to do going forward. But I get it. Egos are bruised And they wanted to have a conversation publicly where they get to control their fear-based narrative about another group of people. And it's so cringy. And it's just so, my God, just ugh. But the reason why I do my responses and I interact in the chat is not for those individuals. It's for the individuals who are going to come through for the replay. It's for the individuals that are going to come through um, um, to watch, whether it's a day later, weeks later, months, years later. People are going to come across that video and be able to see what's going on and be like, wow, that's me. And for all the parents who are afraid of LGBT, I have a whole video on my YouTube channel of me literally sitting down and interviewing my parents who are in their late 50s, early 60s about having 2 queer children and their journey on how they were able to really apply unconditional love. Y'all stood up here and dragged Dwayne Wade for loving his trans daughter Zaya. Are y'all mad because a black man is willing to choose to love his goddamn trans daughter and y'all father is not in y'all lives? Is that the issue? Is that the point? Is that the crime? And if that is, take that up with God and your father. And again, there are some people who are going to cling to their fears, and there are others who are going to embrace it. In my commentary, hopefully, I want to speak to those who are willing to embrace their fears, because that's how you grow. That's how you evolve. That's how you come into alignment. And what I feel like a lot of black men are afraid of is that they have this need of being wanted. Or not even wanted. They have this need of being needed when they're not needed. In reference to a person self-actualizing, they're not needed. But as far as the community building and us coming together, yes, black men are needed. But we need black men to also be open-minded and face their fears. LGBT people have to face their fears every motherfucking day, which is why which is why they come into y'all comment sections. Meanwhile, y'all very scarce in ours. LGBT people come to y'all panel discussions, but yet y'all be so afraid to come to ours. Except for a brave few. Mandrell, Dr. Bennett, the doctor. Shout out to them because they're really about bridging the gap. They're really about saying, you know what, let me sit here and face my own fear and really just see if this is what the case is. Not what the fuck some other shit on the news said or some sort of thing, but to actually face it, to actually do the groundwork, the boot work. Let me go in these spaces and see for myself. Let me sit down and talk to some of these individuals myself and see for myself what's going on. Again, I commend Tyru. I commend Queen Smiley with her fine self. I commend She with her fine self. I commend Mandrell. I commend the doctor. I commend Mr. Bennett. Individuals who are willing to look at it objectively and not from just a fear-based narrative. And if it is fearful, not be afraid to ask and to be educated. To say, you know what, you're right. I'll give you an example. The doctor was on another content creator's channel who was a part of the LGBT community. And he said something around the word of lifestyle. And he was critiqued by the host and said, wait a minute, hold on. I just want to let you know that when it comes down to lifestyle, that could be seen as offensive to LGBT people because, again, this is their life experience. It's not a style. There are LGBT people, especially me when I was younger, who was literally trying to pray the gay away instead of allowing what God has allowed to happen, which for my gay ass to have this experience. I'm pretty sure if Mother Nature had a problem with it, I'm pretty sure she know how to handle it. She don't need y'all. We are just temporary on this goddamn rock. She been here before us, during us, and after us. I'm sure she got the job under control. And it's Mother Nature. Not Father God, but Mother Nature. Okay? And the doctor, he didn't go back. Oh, well, I'm sorry. Well, I'm sorry. He ain't do all that. He said, you know what? I'm sorry. I stand corrected. I stand corrected. I stand corrected. That black man was able to be on a panel with same gender loving men, on a panel with lesbian women, on the panel with asexual people, on the panel with trans women, on the panel with intersex people, and be able to respect how they decide to show up. I'll give you an example that I hope Giselle used. She said, if you went over someone's house and they had a dog and you said, oh, what is his name? And they say, oh, it's a her. They have no problem. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. What's her name? They have no problem correcting it. But now it's, oh, I'm going to call you what you was born. I'm going to call you what you was born. I'm going to call you what you was born. Okay, so I guess white people can call us what they have conceived for us as born as niggers. I mean, if we're gonna play that game, let's play the game. But see, you don't want to play the game all the way. I'm cool with the playing field being leveled. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with equal grounding. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with everything being I'm cool with that. If we gonna call it out, let's call it all out, baby. Let's not do a half-ass long street job, baby. Let's call it all off and call it all out. Yo, oh, we gotta also talk about black men killing each other and stuff like that. But that happens on the regular, unfortunately. If that is the case, and y'all care about blackness so much and black men, y'all need Black Men Unfiltered need to be a 24-hour goddamn channel that is catering to black men and trying to help black men become healthy. When it come down to the LGBT, why don't you let same gender loving people who have that experience educate those who are having those same experiences? You as a heterosexual, and I get it. Y'all talk about the children. Let's talk about the children. When a heterosexual boy starts dealing with his hormones and starts having hormonal things happen to him, a lot of times black cis hetero men see that as a rite of passage. Oh, my boy is growing up. Yes, my son is growing up. First of all, I'm so glad you're not a fag. I'm so glad you're not a fag. That's what they really want to say. I'm so glad you're not one. And let me reward you. Let's have the conversation. But matter of fact, let me do what my old man did to me. Let me give you some porn paraphernalia. Let me give you a Hustlers magazine. Let me give you a Playboy. Let me give you this. We're talking about protecting the children now. That type of stuff is for 18 and older. But it's a rite of passage to be like, okay, son, here you go. And even as children, I was talking about it in my last live. Don't y'all remember back in the day, in the 90s, girl, when they had channels from 1 to 99, and sometimes you can get 100 and 101, those was like HBO and Cinemax. Sometimes you'll see a little titty. Sometimes it'll get a little clearer. You'll see actual people having sex or the act of sex. Children saw that. But how can a heterosexual man have a conversation about the birds or bees or anything sexual when it comes down to their gay son? And then you have LGBT people who literally create those type of narratives so that LGBT children can also experience a normal life like everybody else. But when those things are implemented, now it's, oh, you're trying to teach my son how to be gay. You're trying to teach my son how to be. Well, your son is gay. He's not going to have sex with women. So shouldn't he be educated on how to have sex with the same sex if that is his sexual orientation? If that is how he innately feels on the inside? I mean, is he not a human being who has sexual desires like everybody else? And I'm talking about it in the context of the birds and the bees. I didn't have any sort of sexual intercourse until I was 18 years old. And I had to learn how to do that because I wasn't taught. Maybe if I had, y'all had sex ed in school, of course, at the appropriate times, which was in high school. But now what's happening is that things are being inclusive. Like, y'all be so fearful that this LGBT awareness is going to pollute the minds of your children and make your children want to be LGBT. If influence was that goddamn strong, then why am I gay when I grew up in the 90s when I was just at the beginning era of the internet during the dial-up thing? And then what do you say to the LGBT people in the 60s and the 70s when the TV fucking came out? Where did their influence come from? Where did their impressions come from? Where? Factually, where? Historically, where? Oh, y'all can't point that out. Because if that is the case, that live should have been filled with so much information where it's like, bitch, let me get my notes. Hold on, girl. Let me write this down. You said this article. Oh, shit. Damn, wow. Like, give LGBT people homework. Okay, LGBT people, what about this? 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 What? It should have been nothing. It should have been a PowerPoint presentation. But it's never that. I've done that on my live. I have a live on my YouTube channel called Educating the Ignorant. LGBT plus burden of proof. The cycle of hate. I've showed videos. I've showed articles. You can literally see it. And for black people, and that's why I be gagging, because it's like, during the 60s and 70s, it wasn't just black liberation. It was LGBT liberation. It was women's liberation. It was anti-war. It was everything that the system did not want. And if you pay attention and be in the present moment, you will see that even right now, we are literally at that same space energetically. Black liberation with Black Lives Matter. I ain't talking about the falsified idea or the smear campaign against it, but the true spirit of it. To be able to chronicle the unlawful and unjustifiable deaths and assassinations of melanated people. The same thing with the LGBT community, with dealing with homophobia and transphobia and having equality. Y'all tripping over equality. The same thing with women's rights. Women was burning bras. Women was doing all type of shit. And then there were some people who were saying, oh, you know, well, I'm concerned about trans women participating in sports with women. There are literal organizations, indie organizations, wrestling organizations, that is, that are coming up where there are actual cis hetero women that want to get in the ring and fight men. And I watch those wrestling things sometimes as far as little compilation clips, because they have compilation clips where they be doing all type of brutal shit. I'd be like, damn. Women who want to fight, even in Japan with women's wrestling, it's very brutal. Women be bleeding, tooth knocked out, black eye, bloody nose. Even in the sports with women, they're fighting each other. Trans women take hormones to break down the testosterone. They're actually breaking down and becoming, quote unquote, the way that y'all see it, weaker. And that's and y'all trying to say that women don't know how to defend themselves. There are women that can whoop a lot of niggas' asses. Ronda Rousey is a whole Rousey, whatever her name is. She's a whole cisgender woman that will get in the ring with these niggas. China, professional wrestler, got in the ring with the niggas. There are women who know how to fuck a nigga up if need be. And I'm pretty sure if that is the case, the fighter can decide and decline whether they want to fight a trans fighter or not. And if you know how to fight, it don't matter who the fuck you fighting. You know what to do. That's like saying a short person can't whoop a tall person's ass. You'll gag. You'll gag. You'll gag. Take them kneecaps out, bitch. We the same height, girl. What's up? Like, and that's the thing. Y'all don't have to do it. Y'all don't have to fight a trans person. Y'all don't have to do that. But don't try to stop other people who are willing to be open-minded and really be connected to humanity for real. And literally allow humanity to be exactly what it's going to be. Humanity. Again, nothing but fear. No evidence. Except the Bible, girl. And if we're going to play the Bible game, we can play the Bible game. Y'all been losing at that. It's like we can continue to do the cyclic shit that we're doing, but if we're going to do it, girl, we might as well commit. And LGBT people ready to commit to the cycle. If y'all want to continue this cycle of bullshit, we just going to go ahead and do it then. If y'all want to play in our face and downplay our experiences about y'all objectively, okay then girl, we're gonna match our energy. But then when we do, all of a sudden, oh, you can't talk to them. Oh, y'all don't want to talk to us anyway. Y'all already have your minds up, a lot of y'all anyway, when it come down to LGBT people. Y'all already have y'all own fear-based perspectives and narratives that has been taught to you. Not even something that y'all motherfuckers even educated yourself on objectively and studied to show thyself approved, but basically regurgitate bullshit. Even though I'm disappointed in the majority of the panel, like I said, individuals like Queen Smiley, individuals like Dr. and Mr. Bennett give me hope that there are black people. We don't need everybody. We just need enough. Because we understand there are some people who are just not going to want to get it. Not because they can't, they just don't want to. What's going on? But that there are some people who literally are asking to really understand. For example, there was this this episode on this show called The Premise. Y'all can watch that on Hulu. I think it's still there. Hopefully it is. And the first episode was about a white man who always talked about Black Lives Matter. I'm for blackness. I'm for blackness. Whoop de whoop de whoop de whoop de woo. And what happened is that there was a black man who was unlawfully arrested, and he was going to jail. It seemed like almost for life. You know what I'm saying? But then there was an individual who was an advocate for blackness or an ally for blackness. And he learned what it meant to be an ally and an accomplice because he was recording sex videos with his girlfriend. And out the corner of the frame, you can actually see the black man being arrested unlawfully. So that was proof. So he sent the proof in anonymously. He sent the proof in anonymously, but sent the proof in and said, okay, well, can we use this in court because this will exonerate the black man? But of course, the white man started having second thoughts because his sex game was whack, his body wasn't on point, and he looked very cringy. And when they had the trial, they brought the video up, and the prosecution denied the video and was questioning him and his sex. It was, again, this is a funny satirical show using comedy to address the issues of America, the hot topic issues. And he had to go through that, so he actually had to be an advocate, which means that he had to go under fire, which meant that he actually had to walk in the feet, in the footsteps of LGBT people, of black people, sorry, of black people. Like, if you're really about that life, if you know what's going on for us is real and true, and you all about it and you doing it, this is your opportunity to be about it. And he was so afraid to be about it because of what people was going to say about him. But at the end of the day, because he was able to face his fears, he did the right thing, even though it kind of costed him being laughed at and made fun of. The same thing with the Underground Railroad. It wasn't just black people. There were white people that had to put their lives on the line too, who, if they got caught helping black people at that time, they were not given a slap on the wrist. They wasn't given paid administrative leave. They were dying along with them. And you have some people that say objectively, this is not right, and is willing to challenge their privilege, to their superiority, to be able to help oppress groups of people. And hell, let's take it back again to the Christian narrative. Jesus Christ was a martyr for oppressed people. He spoke for the voiceless. He instilled power in them. When he was doing all type of miraculous healings, he didn't heal them just off of his own accord. One of the first things that he asked people that he was doing some sort of miracle for was to ask them, do you believe? Do you believe you are healed? Do you believe you're delivered from sickness? Do you believe all these things? But he did it with actual love because he saw the humanity in them. And when he did that and influenced and encouraged them to choose them, to participate in it, that's when the miraculous healing happened. He was able to reach the heart of people, and Black Men Unfiltered is failing to do that because they can't even reach their own damn hearts. They can't even make their heart not callous against other oppressed groups of people. It's interesting to me. It's baffling to me. And let's talk about the Bible. Let's talk about the book of Revelations. You know why it's called Revelations? Let's look up the definition of revelation. Because once again, we also play by y'all rules. We give y'all the facts. We give y'all the stats. We give y'all the statistics. We give y'all the experiences. We give y'all all this stuff. And yet it's still not enough. Like, what the fuck? But anyway, let's see. Define. What was I defining? Ooh, girl, it's edible. What was I defining, y'all? I was defining something. I'm going to find it. Y'all know, for those of you who are new to BubzDaGawd, I be losing my thoughts sometimes. It'd be so much to where it'd be like, okay, girl, you got to reset for a second. Get it back. I was defining. So what was I defining? Damn. If y'all can remember in the comments, can somebody please put it in there? That's if I don't get it before I remember. What was I defining? I defined it before. What was I going to define? Damn, Zim. See, I can admit my shortcomings. I can admit when I have my little isms. I be stuttering and stuff. I be putting words together. I be on my Andrew Caldwell flow a little bit on the tongue because the motherfucker want me. You know, I was defining something. Damn, what was I going to define? Hold on. See if I can bring back the spirit of remembrance. Girl, come to me. But it's just interesting to me, like, that's why I do my part. And there are some people who are exhausted. There's a lot of LGBT people who are exhausted with this, who are done with that. And that's why community is so important, because when y'all get exhausted, there are other people that can pick up the mantle and keep it going. That's the beauty of community. What you won't do, somebody else will. What you won't do, do. And this is what's scary for LGBT people. Again, they don't understand that there are literally laws being established. Yes, in Bible Belt states, but the whole goddamn country at large still identifies heavenly as Christian. And it happened once before when same-sex marriage and LGBT equality through the law did not exist. And they want to go back to that. Once again, make America great again. We know what that means. All oppressed groups of people understand what that means because they need us to participate in this system in order for it to keep going. And if the oppressed people start to become enlightened, we have to stop it. We've seen it historically. I've done recent research which baffled my mind, and I still need to get into it, in reference to Haiti. I've always heard people talk so badly about Haiti. Now I'm starting to understand why. Because they revolted. Whenever people decided to say, you know what, I'm going to be the change that I wish to see in this world, it's always destroyed. It's always dismantled. It's never, but see, that's okay. It's not right, but it's okay. Because again, we're entering, or we have entered, we ushered into the age of Aquarius, which means spirit, Mother Nature, finna really come in and balance things. And a lot of people are about to gag. And I mean LGBT, hetero, black, white, American, whatever the case may be. All of humanity has gotten a wake up call, but apparently that wake up call wasn't enough. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Revelation. Thank you. Revelations. Define revelation. That's what I meant. Thank you. See what I mean when it comes back? Define revelation. Okay, or they have revelation, like revelations are coming now. Objective revelation that is truthful, that is in light. They don't give a fuck about how you feel or what you think. Remember, God, source, universe. Okay, it's not a respecter of person. Okay, revelation is defined as a surprising or previously unknown fact, especially one that is made known in a dramatic way, or the divine or supernatural disclosure to humans of something relating to human existence of the world. I think when revelations happens, girl, it's going to show us how we could have had the opportunity and the chance to mend things, and now we're stuck in the thick of it. I think it's going to be a lot of teeth gnashing and all that type of stuff, and grinding of the jaw, because we're going to see how we actually participated in dropping the ball. And I mean dropping the ball in love. Dropping the ball when it comes to love. How the same people that we demonized and made fun of and ostracized out of ignorance, how because of us doing that, we all now have to suffer as human beings. And to me, it seems like humanity only changes when destruction happens. My question is, why does it have to take destruction in order for things to change? Why is that? Y'all talk about let's have the conversations. We're having the motherfucking conversations, but yet we don't want to goddamn talk and be accountable. Y'all want Okay, so the accountability that you want LGBT people to do, okay, show us objectively what it is. Men in dresses, men in wigs. Is that the issue? If that's the issue, how is a man in a wig or a dress affecting you personally? Do you feel like the only way you'll be able to succeed in America is to sell your soul through your booty hole? Oh, shout out to good night to you, Eris. Thank you for coming through. Is that what it is? Again, show us what it is. The fear that is so like, oh my God, this takes precedence over everything else. Because y'all talk about the children. The children are the future. The children are the most important, precious things. So y'all are saying that the children need to be shielded from LGBT adults because they're going to influence my children. And let's just deal with it. Y'all are afraid of dealing with LGBT in close proximity to you, not because of the experience of the LGBT person. We've seen statistically and factually that a lot of black families have disowned their LGBT children and don't want them around, or if they do, they still quote unquote struggle with honoring their expression of goddamn life. Meanwhile, we'll have the real life pedophile who done touch the kids, come over, get a plate and all that stuff, but he just can't be around the kids. And then you lump LGBT in that together. Meanwhile, the actual pedo who's heterosexual can be classified and labeled as that because we've seen it factually. We've seen it actually happen. There is things to back it up. But when it comes to LGBT, there's nothing. So yes, when it comes down to spirit, which transcends and above all this human shit, we have to embrace. We have to embrace. Again, Jesus said it. Let this mind be in you that is also in me. And to not harden your heart with your emotions, because those are the things needed to manifest. But to be cognitive and conscious of those things. And we're missing the heart part. We're missing the emotional part. There needs to be more black men on therapy couches with goddamn tissues crying it out. Let it out, baby. Because I get it. Black men have been so used to surviving, and fighting and fighting and surviving and fighting and surviving that black men haven't had the opportunity to actually heal. and live in a communal way. And we did once before during the 60s and 70s, baby. Everybody was in a motherfucking getting out the barrel bag. What can we do to get back to that energy? But we have to do it in a more higher vibratory, open-minded way, because the ways that we think about doing it, they're obviously not working. If they were true, it would be working. If it was genuine and authentic, it would be working, because the energy, especially if it's genuine, doesn't lie. But because there's a lot of talking one way and then acting another way with fear projecting, you're talking about LGBT projecting. They're sharing their actual stories and accounts about what happened to them. It's the same exact thing with white people thinking that black people project their fear and pain onto them. When we speak about our experiences and experiences with white people, we're literally doing the same thing. Discounting those experiences as saying, you know what, you're right. Let me face my own ego. Now, does LGBT people need work too? You're goddamn right. And guess what? There are LGBT people in the community that is doing that. We are having in-house conversations about LGBT people and how to deal with our own bullshit. But we also got a problem with y'all too. Just like blackness needs a lot of fucking mental, emotional, spiritual, and psychological work and healing that needs to be done, it still doesn't negate the fact of what's been happening outside of us as well. It's the fact that they don't want us to have these internal conversations to help black people find a gray area of understanding and camaraderie together so that they can fully focus on the outside. They got to keep us distracted internally. Because the more divisive we are to each other, the easier we're doing their job. And when it comes down to a lot of black men and a lot of black people's perspective, not all, but a lot, when it comes down to LGBT and especially LGBT people of color, there is a lot of fear. There is a lot of ignorance there because y'all don't know what y'all talking about. Y'all are missing important contexts and nuances and elements in order to make this conversation fleshed out. But you don't want it fleshed out because, baby, you are in there somewhere. And since LGBT people have dealt with being demonized all their life and being held to the fire, since black women are being demonized and held to the fire for choosing them instead of ain't shit ass niggas and talking about, well, you shouldn't have chose an ain't shit ass nigga. Well, there's too many ain't shit niggas out there. For all the niggas that is shit, why ain't y'all having conversations to transform these ain't shit niggas into it? Oh, because they'll shoot your ass. Don't y'all got guns too? Clap back at they ass. But see, there's too many of them. Y'all have an issue with the minority. We are the minority. We will always and forever be the minority. And me, I'm okay with that. But God damn it, I'm a part of this experience too, because God saw fit, because the universe saw fit. Despite what your interpretation of viewpoint from your crooked ass pastor said in his pulpit, girl, I'm talking about the supreme creator allowing my experience to be here. The fact that there are LGBT people who are 60, 70, 80, 90, goddamn 100 years old who still are here, it has allowed them to do that. So if God is allowing it, why do y'all have a problem with it? But all I'm going to do is my part. And I made a promise to oppress groups of people, whether it's LGBT people, whether it's black people, whether it's women, just oppressiveness in human nature. Not from a factual place to be able to make it objective, not from that, because ain't no people doing that. The oppressed people are showing their information about how them being oppressed. And all the response is just telling them to shut up and hush. That's why heterophobia. That's why I asked the question that never got answered. Can you establish the timeline of that? Because when black people when LGBT people say homophobia and transphobia, they're talking about not just the verbiage, but the energy surrounded, that they're automatically othered. And that historically speaking, factually speaking, when they're othered, we understand what happens next. The first time I went to my Pride event was in 2011. I went with one of my friends at the time named William, who is openly gay. He does drag and everything. The nigga is feminine as hell. He had this glittery ass purse that could shine and blind all type of people. Medusa ain't got shit on that purse. We went to Pride. I'm seeing Pride. I'm like, oh wow, I've never saw so many LGBT people out in the open. It's interesting. And then we decided to walk to the riverfront, which is connected to Hart Plaza, because I live in Detroit. So you can leave Hart Plaza and go down the Riverwalk. And me and my friend and his friends at the time thought, well, hell, all these LGBT people here, we might as well go. All of our family here, we might as well go. Maybe it'll be dope. And we left Hart Plaza and walked down the Riverwalk. And we thought that we were safe. Funny us, right? We were walking, and in the distance was a group of cis, hetero, black men, really teenagers, anywhere from like maybe 16 to like maybe 19, close to 20. It was 6 of them, and it was 4 of us, and they clocked my friend William. They clocked him with the purse, him with his little flare. They clocked it. Them niggas started following us. We didn't walk up to them, ooh, trade. We didn't walk up to them, ooh, daddy, we didn't do any of that. We were minding our own business. But meanwhile, they saw it as an opportunity to operate in their hypermasculinity, which means they followed us. And was saying all type of stuff. Man, them niggas gay. Man, they better not say shit to me, bro. And they don't talk to me. But y'all following us, though. But man, nobody better not say nothing to me. And then one of them literally walked up behind my friend William, like literally behind him, like, you trying to hunch on this nigga? And I wanted to say something, and they just kept laughing, and eventually they left us alone. And I wanted to say something. But my friend's boyfriend at the time was like, look, Bubs, all these niggas, man, I know each other, but they will get on one accord to whoop our gay asses. There was another Pride event here in Detroit, where there was an individual who was a famous hairstylist. He was known for his weaves and what he does with his hair. Ended up getting into a physical altercation and got jumped by straight niggas. All because he was feminine. Not because he tried to quote unquote convert them. Not because he tried to twerk in front of them and say, come over here, Dad. He didn't do anything of the sort. They attacked him. Now, the one dude that was fighting him in the beginning got worked because that gay nigga had hands. And when that happened, all these niggas came on cold and they jumped that gay person. There has been clips, or there is a particular clip, especially back like in the late 2000s, where there was a man sitting in his car at a goddamn liquor store and saw a black man walk in with some tight jeans and was like, man, fuck that fag shit, bro. Fuck that shit, bro. When that nigga come out, I gotta let him know. He walked out the fucking liquor store and he said, hey, yo, bro, come here for a minute. Come here. He was like, yeah, what's up? The nigga pulled a gun out and aimed it at him and said, man, pull up your motherfucker. Man, them tight ass pants on, man, with that bag shit, bruh. The dude wasn't doing anything. He was just merely existing. That's why conversations and ignorant opinions become dangerous, because once again, it's going to reverse the clock and put LGBT back in a destructive place. But a lot of black men, unfiltered, don't give a fuck about that. They would prefer that to happen. Maybe not by their hands, but somebody else, they would prefer that. The level of hypocrisy, the level of ignorance, the level of fear is astounding and astonishing to me. It's baffling to me. It's mind-boggling to me that here in 2023, you have motherfuckers getting on platforms as if though they know what the hell they talking about. God done tapped them on the shoulder and said, you better say it. But you've been saying the same thing, girl, and nothing has changed. This is what LGBT people feel at this moment.
I can't do this. 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 I can't do this.
We is tired of y'all bullshit. And I've made a promise that when it comes down to people spewing hatred, vitriol, and then have the nerve to cloak that shit in love as if though we can't see through that sheer ass shit, LGBT people, especially those who are self-actualized or self-actualizing or who have healed from their traumas, girl, are going to get up here and educate y'all about the shit that y'all are ignorant on. And if y'all want to have y'all conversations about LGBT people freely without being challenged or critiqued, do that shit on your Patreon or something. Because as long as it's public, we're going to be here, especially if you're talking about us. What that little girl say? Oh, when I'm not around, you want to do all this. But then when I come around, y'all don't want to post up. LGBT people be in y'all spaces. We've always been in y'all spaces. Hello, we're in the world. Whether a nigga feminine, whether they're masculine, because there's masculine gays too. There are different intersections, but you would know that if you educated yourself. But I mean, well, I'm sorry. I'm not going to apologize for educating myself because I understand that my ancestors were murdered, had their fingers cut off, they got them eyeballs taken out, their tongues sliced out for trying to read and educate themselves. So excuse me if my short, gay, leprechaun, same gender loving ass is actually manifesting and fulfilling the promises of my ancestors to educate myself. Now it's time for y'all niggas to do the same thing. And lead by example. Let me help black men unfilter real quick. Y'all want to be able to crack LGBTQ people face. I know y'all want to. That's what you want to do, girl. Y'all like, if I can just get a few of them motherfuckers, just a few, I'll give y'all a cheat code right now, girl. And I might lose my gay card for this, but I care about black people, so I'll give y'all a little nugget. You want to be able to shut LGBT people up? You want to be able to crack LGBT people's faces? Here's what you do. Actually do the self-work and hold black men accountable who operate under the heterosexual guys the way you want to. And once y'all have rectified the majority of your situation and the majority of y'all have shown up healthy and aligned, then come talk to us. Then we'll have to follow suit. Y'all want to lead by example, lead by example. Shut us up. Like, don't just talk about the shit, be about the shit. Black women been about the shit. LGBT people of color been about the shit. We waiting on y'all. And be grateful that there are some people who are still waiting on y'all, girl, and we about to miss the elevator waiting for you niggas. We on an episode of The Last of Us, girl, and the goddamn clickers are coming. I'm trying to help your ass save yourself, but you don't even want to pull yourself up. So I'll be keeping my eye open, like I've been, vigilant about it. And this is even scary for me because y'all talking about, oh, your life, your target being put on your back. No, there is a target being put on LGBT people's backs, especially people like myself who are about equality when it comes to blackness and the intersections of blackness. I've already had conversations around death and the possibility of that happening to me in a tragic way, all because I'm sharing my truth and helping people to self-actualize. The system don't like that. And the system has us so indoctrinated to where the system ain't got to kill us. Our own brothers will. And that is where my fear is going to come from. My fear is that a lot of black men are going to operate in the only emotion that is considered masculine, which is a destructive one. To go off to fucking bring forth hellfire. And if that is the case, I want you to understand that there are LGBT people of color who know how to bring hellfire too. So if the whole fucking world has to burn in order for Mother Nature to do her job, if it has to take the world falling apart for humanity to figure out who the fuck they really are collectively, then I guess that's going to have to be the point. But if and when that time comes, the individuals that have been warning y'all, the individuals who have the mental capacity, that have long suffering, that has emotional awareness and intelligence, that know how to deal with context and nuance and really dig deep into the shit and really get to the motherfucking root, those individuals, when the shit pop off, we are going to tell y'all, I told y'all so, and then cuss y'all the fuck out. And since it's the end, god damn it, we might as well fight at this damn point. We might as well go ahead and just bang it out. No homo for you insecure niggas. No cap? Cap. But yeah, y'all, that's just my thoughts. I was upset that the actual live in the beginning got P-bombed. I didn't like that. I think that was very decisive. I don't know who did that. I really, really don't. Shame on the person who did that, honestly. And I wanted that live to stay up because I wanted people to catch the replay and literally like gag at the ignorance, like literally gag at the fear, like, and I'm talking about for days, for weeks, for years, for possibly decades, however long the internet's going to be up, like for people to go back and watch that shit and be like, wow, 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 like wow, wow, like the people on the platform ain't got to agree. I want to reach the people who do want to understand. And now that that video got P-bombed, that live can't be up, so that we won't be able to have that. Girl, look at heterophobia at work, huh? Okay, let me shout out the comments. Shout out to y'all who came through. Shout out to those who are in the comment section. Shout out to those who are in the bushes. Hey, how you doing? Shout out to the replay. And shout out to those who want to respond. I give anybody permission to use my live as a response. If you want to take what I said and break it down in your own way, I give you full free permission to do that. And let's really have the conversation. I just hope you're ready for the conversation, because the conversation with me, we gonna deal with all aspects, meaning the mental, the emotional, the physical, the spiritual. We got to deal with all of it, and we can deal with it on whatever time y'all own, baby. Sometimes you got to talk to people in the way that they know. Sometimes you got to talk to people the way that they're used to talking. That's how you reach people. Talk to them in their language. And if you talk to yourself, talk to people in a certain type of way, I can match that too. If we got to go to hell, we got to go to hell. But see, I've already been there, so I know how to rise back up. But if you want to go there, we can. Anyway, please like the video. You ain't got to goddamn subscribe, because I'm not everybody's cup of tea. But you can at least hit the thumbs up button. You ain't got to be a hating ass nigga all your life. Come on now, damn. Do something good. Okay? Shout out to Aries. Shout out to Shed. Shout out to Harold. Shout out to Barry. Shout out to Queen Donna. Shout out to y'all. Again, this was an impromptu live. I wasn't going to go live about this. I was going to go live about this tomorrow, actually, because I was going to download the live and, like, break the live down. But the universe saw fit for something else to happen. So I guess it was trying to prove that heterophobia is not really as common. If anything, again, it just proves what the hell my title is. A fear tactic loophole used to avoid accountability. That's all. So, and I mean, when you're trying to be the king, when you're trying to lead, there are things that you're going to have to do to show, for example, and accountability is one of those things. Maybe y'all need to get some pussy before y'all be accountable. Like, do y'all women need to fuck the anger out of y'all so that y'all can come to the conversation? You know what? I'm willing to be right. My chick just rolled my soul out and massaged it and shit like that. I'm ready to be honest now. I'm ready to tell the truth. Do you need to bust some nuts first before you had a conversation? That's cool. And for any of the men on Black Men Unfiltered, whether you're in the comment section, whether you're a panelist, I welcome you to my platform. We can have a conversation. But we're going to have a contextual and nuanced conversation, which means emotion is going to be involved because y'all have it too. And I'm going to honor it. I'm just going to just match the energy. And sometimes we need that in order for us to see. Sometimes we need to match and see what it is that is given out so that we understand. That's why Christ said, do unto others as you want them to do unto you, baby. You're going to figure it out. You're going to find out. And maybe that's the way. All I ask is that if you partake of the herb, roll up a good motherfucking sativa or eat an edible, and when that bitch hit, let's have a conversation. I'd rather have a high-ass conversation. That's just me. But anyway, thank y'all for watching. I really appreciate it. And until next time, everybody. Oh, if you want to donate to my Cash App, you can. Cash App BubzDaGawd. I'm taking all donations, okay? If the universe saw fit for you to send something, I don't care what it is, $1, $10, $50, $100, whatever your spirit feels like sending, you definitely can. All right, I ain't turning nothing down. I'm getting all my blessings, okay? I'm walking by faith, and I'm going to let the universe gag me like it's been doing, okay? Continue to do so. Until next time, everybody. Peace.
Love never dies, just choose to be born.